concretize things. And active learning is also a very social learning. That means I have to work with my friend. They learn better. They get more interested. The other two standards look at staff development or faculty development. And what's interesting is that we say, hey, faculty needs to nurture design, systems thinking skills. Are we ourselves familiar what systems thinking is all about? Okay, so do we need ourselves to enhance our knowledge of systems thinking? And the last two is look at assessment and evaluation. We said if we need to change our curriculum to look at skills, lifelong learning skills, then shouldn't our assessment also change? So in SP, previously we focused our assessment very much on technical knowledge and skills. What's the definition of this? Can you compute this, calculate this, etc.? But now we're saying, hey, we also need to look at teamwork, communication skills, and so forth. Last one is program evaluation. I don't know whether you have this here, but we have what we call a CAT, Quality Management System, that's been instituted in our institution since 1982. So it's a very long, and so in that system, we have a way of looking at our curriculum and saying, what improvements can we make? What has worked? What hasn't worked? And how can we improve it? So that's program evaluation. The key features of CDIO curriculum is that there's an integrated learning, okay? Integrated where the personal, interpersonal skills are infused into the teaching of disciplinary knowledge. There's active learning and there's experiential learning, learning by doing. So why we take this three approach is because we find that engineers actually learn from concrete experiences. Many of our students, engineering students need to touch, to manipulate, to build. Then the theories, the principles make sense to them. They arrive at our institution not knowing much about engineering. We find that these activities where they design and build, this helps them to understand principles and concepts better. And many of our curriculum are already overloaded. And if you say teach communication skills, people say no time. I've got no time. I need to teach theory A, theory B, theory C. Okay? So the thing that we are saying, do it together. Have dual impact. While they are learning theory A, theory B, can we also introduce a little bit of teamwork, communication skills, and so forth. So we find that industry benefits. In fact, one university was telling us, and that's in the UK, they didn't want to share the CDIO framework with other universities. Because they said the industry, when the industry found that graduates was making an impact, it gave their graduates added value. I don't want to share anymore with anyone else. They stopped. So, you know, UK, only very few people there because they didn't want to share. Yeah, so few collaborators. They felt that it gave the students that additional edge, and therefore they didn't want to share. Okay, so industry benefits. We benefit because we have a curricula that is industry endorsed, stakeholder endorsed, and they also tell us how to do it, and that's based on worldwide trends and sharing across the world. And the students, from our experience, really enjoy. Instead of sitting down in the classroom, now they're building and they're learning much, much more. So we do find our students learning more. Okay, so we're back to the first question, which we have dealt with. They enjoy their learning. We found that so with CDIO. They become a bit more independent learners because now they're building themselves and they're asking themselves questions and they don't know. Well, we can always tell them, go and find out. Okay? They become clearer of the purpose of engineering, of learning engineering from day one. When they step in, we're telling them, this is the world of engineering, this is what engineering is about. So we're telling them become more purposeful, and we're showing the links and how this works in industry when they leave. There's experiential learning, right? And we hope that we could introduce comm skills as part of what we were trying to do, and through that also, part of the skills, if you look at it more deeply, is to nurture them to be lifelong learners. Okay, I think my time is up, and I do want to give you a break for 15 minutes for tea break before we move on to the next session, which we will share with you what we do in SP. Yeah? Okay, Professor Mana? Yeah. So, yeah. Oops. I'll come back to that afterwards. Okay, so 15 minutes. I hope it's ready. Any questions so far while Professor Mana goes and check the tea break? Anything that you need clarity about?
Okay.
It's ready?
Break outside.
Okay, then you ask me during tea break anytime. Okay, so 15 minutes. Please come back at 10:30. My colleague, Chi Wai, will share what we do in the School of Electrical and Electronic Engineering. Okay, and I think it'll be very interesting what he will share. I just want to point out a few things before I pass the mic to him. One is that CDIO is a framework. Okay, it's a framework. By itself, does not guarantee success. Okay, by itself, it does not guarantee success. I think what is key is also good implementation. Okay, good implementation. So that one, I think the key initial group who are going to work on this, you have a very important role to play. Because whether it's successful or not depends on how well you work together to implement the framework. So when we first started out, Linda and Chi Wai was one of the initial members of a group that came together. And we told ourselves, if we're going to do this, let's do it well. Okay, so that's the frame thing. If we're going to do something, let's do it well from the start. Let's do it slowly, but let's do it well. Okay, so that's key. So success is not guaranteed. It's just a framework. What is important is the implementation. The other thing I need to just point out to you that CDIO has to be customized and should be customized for your institution. Your students and our students are very different. I don't know, maybe your students are closer to MIT students. Are they? Maybe. Yeah? So for us, we need to customize, we need to change what came from MIT for our context, for Singapore context. Right? So I think it's good for you to look at it and say, how can we customize CDIO for Thailand, for Chulalongkorn? So the examples I'm going to share with you, or Chi Wai is going to share with you, is an example to illustrate how the framework has been implemented. So in an illustration. And we hope through this illustration that we would like to inspire you to come up with your own ideas. Okay, so that what we're going to share with you is not something that you need to adopt, but it's something to look at and say, hey, how can this is interesting, how can I do it in my own program? And come up with your own ideas. Okay. So we adopted CDIO for a few reasons. One is that we wanted to increase students' motivation and understanding of engineering. As I said, our students, engineering is not the first choice. They sit there, they tell you, we don't want to be here. Okay? We'd rather be somewhere else, playing football outside or something. Right? We wanted to address the falling enrollment. In Singapore, no one wants to be an engineer anymore. Or very few, not no one, very few. So falling enrollment. And also, at that point of time, which is 2004, we were looking at how can we come up with a new model to prepare our students for 21st century. Knowing that our students' perspective and our perspective is quite different. So like I said, for us, who have been in education for some while, for us, we live to work. For them, they live to live. Okay? So, different perspective. So, this was initiated by the faculty, which is interesting. In Singapore, I don't know about in Thailand, but in Singapore, many of the initiatives come down, top down. How about in Thailand? Is it top down? This was one initiative that came up bottom up. It was a faculty in the School of Electrical and Electronic Engineering who wanted to address these problems of student motivation, of falling enrollment, and she went to do a search. And she found CDIO and she thought, hey, this looks good. And as we worked more and more on it, we found that yes, it's something that is worthwhile adopting across the Polytechnic. So we've been collaborators since 2004. It was piloted in the Electrical and Electronic Engineering School. We currently have actually 6, I haven't updated this, 6 academic schools who have adopted it. Architecture, built environment, chemical, life sciences, electrical, electronic, mechanical, digital media, infocom, and the new one is the School of Maritime Academy. Singapore Maritime Academy. So that's a new one. So altogether, we've got 17 programs now. So these are the various diplomas that have adopted it. This is interesting. It's a music and audio technology. It's not an engineering program. But they felt that the skills that was advocated by CDIO was so relevant to their program and decided, yes, we will adopt it. In fact, our School of Business have also adopted the program. In a sense, part of CDIO, the part of Introduction to Engineering, they now have an Introduction to Business. They like the concept of Introduction to Engineering. And now they've used it and said, let's put it into our programs, Introduction to Business. So many of our programs in Singapore Polytechnic now have an introduction to something or other, because we feel that that's a good way to get our students to know why they're learning the subject, to engage them in what the subject is, the exciting part of the subject. This is our vision for our students. At the end, when they graduate, they're able to do. They have the knowledge, they have the theory, they have the practice. Then they're innovative. And finally, they're able to use what they learn and apply it to society for the better of the society. Okay, so this is what we want to achieve at the end when our students leave us. They know, they're able to do, they're innovative, and they serve with a heart. They're able to apply what they learn to the community. We also have, if you look at this, what we call graduate attributes that we have defined. First, competence, then communication, teamwork, creativity, innovation, ethics, responsibility, global mindset, and being personal and social effectiveness. So these are our 6 graduate attributes, which is very similar to the CDIO skills. This is our education framework, and CDIO is the key framework because of the integrated curriculum, the teaching and learning experiences and assessments, and also how it addresses the learning environment. So it anchors our framework. So this is our vision, that our students are work, life, and world ready. Yes?
What is CCA?
CCA, co-curricular activities. Co-curricular activities like football, band, and so forth. Yeah. outside the curriculum, the formal curriculum. For us, we found that for many years, we are very good at this. All this while, we are good at getting the students to make things. How to make things. But we feel that to prepare our students for the future, we need to teach them is what to make. Okay, so not only how to make, but what to make. And that's where the innovation comes in. The innovative person will know what to make. Yeah? So we use design thinking as our methodology to strengthen the C and the D part. And tomorrow morning, I'll go through design thinking. I'll introduce design thinking to you in more detail, the process, and some of the tools. So our experience with CDIO and design thinking is that we found that the students have, going through the activities, have a deeper understanding of what they learn. They're more motivated. There's a lot of self-learning because there's many things they come across which we will never anticipate. That's what they are experiencing, and therefore they have to learn more about what they're trying to do. There's active engagement, there's a lot of thinking, critical as well as creative thinking, and then they see things as holistic and real world. And I'll share with you tomorrow how we do that, especially with design thinking, how it all comes together. So for our IChemE, our chemical engineering program, they actually won an award for the excellence in education and training in chemical engineering, using the CDIO to revamp their curriculum. So our colleagues here use the CDIO framework to revamp their curriculum, and the IChemE, Institute of Chemical Engineering, actually gave them this inaugural award for excellence in education and training. Yeah. So they did a fantastic job. Okay, I'll now pass it to Chi Wai to give you some examples from the School of Electrical and Electronic Engineering.
Hi, good morning. I know sitting down there, even after 10 minutes, it's difficult to concentrate. Okay, I can sense, even from our students, we have to constantly dance and sing to capture their attention. All right, now, I want to approach this slightly differently, okay? Some interaction between you all and get yourself to start thinking about it. Okay, let me just introduce myself very quickly. I'm from the School of Electrical and Electronic Engineering. I'm the Deputy Director in charge of all the course matters, the program. Okay, so I will tell you a bit of the various programs that we run. Okay, like what Helene was saying just now, we are not blessed with the best students, everyone who comes in very eager to learn engineering. So we constantly have to entertain them, you know, to ensure that they find purpose in what they are learning. Okay, so that is a very big challenge. Now, our previous, just to give you 5 years ago, 10 years ago, how was our curriculum like? Our curriculum last time was, okay, you come inside here, all right? Our focus was mainly this. Do it right. Okay? Do it right. That means we define what they are supposed to do. They do and do and do until it's correct. They are very good. Is that the best way of producing graduates? We define